Hey friends, Stephen Michael Miller here, and today's topic is all about risk taking. Now, I know that many of you may be adverse to taking risks, but before you move away and turn off this video, I want you just to tune in for just a moment because we're going to talk about the risk that everybody faces almost every single day. And that's not a dangerous thing, it's not crazy, it's not scary, or it doesn't have to be. We're talking about taking calculated risks. See, risk is actually anything outside of our comfort zone. We've talked about comfort zones before, right? Risk is anything that is better or different. And I say that on purpose because, like you know, different isn't always better, but better is always different, right? It's going to be different. And anything that is different, anything that's outside of our comfort zone or outside of our knowledge base is technically a risk. Right? A risk is where you don't know and understand what the outcome is going to be. It's not risky for me to turn on a light switch or to go to the light switch and try to turn it on because I know that in my life, my experience has shown that every single time I go to turn on a light, the light will come on, right? The wiring was done right. I know that in a house that was put together or in a commercial building that was put together, there were not only the general contractors and the subcontractors that went through to put that house together with all the electricity in the right place, but that the electrical then contractors came in and had to verify it all, that the inspectors had to come through and verify that everything was working. So I have full confidence that when I go to flip that switch, that the light's going to come on. That's not a risky action for me to take. I understand and know what the outcome's going to be. But there are times in life where we want better for ourselves. We want to improve and change. We want to do things that we haven't been doing up until this point. We want to maybe implement or start a new habit that will bring us a greater result in our life. Anytime we embark on something like that that's new, that's better for us, it's going to involve taking risk. So the question is, how do we want to see and view risk? Do we want to view risk as something bad? Or do we want to view risk as something wonderful, as something great, something needed, something that's awesome? Just think for a moment if you viewed risk in that light rather than with the negative connotation that risk oftentimes receives. You see, risk gets a bad rap. It's not risk's fault that that we sometimes get into deals where we lose money or where we start off on a goal and then never accomplish it. It's not risk's fault. Risk is actually there to help us to grow and expand. It's there to help us become a better person. Risk is there to help us use our minds in the best way possible and to associate and to understand and to learn and grow. Risk is there for our better, not for our detriment. So if we can change the way that we look at risk, I think that we can start to change some of those outcomes with risk. You see, it can be risky to go up to somebody and strike up a conversation, somebody new, somebody that you don't know. It can be risky because you're putting yourself out there, you put yourself out on the line. You're risking the hope that that person will respond well to you, which they may or may not. But that's a risk that you could take every single day, regardless of what the outcome is for taking that risk, right? If you went up to somebody and talked to them and they ignored you, well, that could be one outcome. But was it worth it for you to get outside of your comfort zone and to approach that person? I would say yes, because that can be a growth experience for you. You could risk it again and go to someone else, and they could then accept that offering or that friendship or whatever it is that you put out there, your question, and they could answer you, and you can start to learn and grow and experience new things. These risks are risks that we can take every single day, and these are great risks to take because it means that we get to add to our person, we get to add to our being, we get to increase and improve who we are. See, risk is awesome. Risk is just entering into a space of unknown, and there is no improvement without risk. I'm going to say that one more time. There is no personal, business, or any type of improvement without some sort of risk. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to just jump in willy-nilly, that you don't have, you don't do any research or you don't think about things. This just means that after you've done the research and after you have thought about the outcomes and maybe even visualize some of those outcomes, what that could possibly be, sometimes looking at the good outcomes along with some of the potential bad outcomes and weighing those out, that you're still willing to then go forward and take calculated risks. Calculated just means that you've thought it through. You've tried to see different perspectives. You've kind of turned it over and turned it around and looked at it from different angles. Then taking risk isn't so scary because you understand what the worst outcomes could be. You understand what you're facing. And so if you look at the worst outcome compared to the best outcome, and you say, I may land somewhere in between, but if I were to hit this worst outcome, is it going to ruin me, or is it going to be horrible for me, or can I learn from it? But if I were to hit the best outcome, what would that do for me as well? So when you're looking at risk, when you're deciding whether or not you want to engage in an activity that's risky for you, do you see that risk as something bad, or can you see that as something good? And I'm telling you right now, if you can begin to view risk as something that's great and necessary for you, something that's potentially even awesome for you, it's going to help you to accomplish and achieve greater things, to get yourself out of your own way sometimes. Stop sabotaging your goals and your achievement, and to begin making marked progress. So get out there today. Think about and look at the things that you're going to accomplish and achieve, and the tasks that you're going to get after, the new things that you're going to tackle, and get after it. Get after that calculated risk with tenacity and excitement. And if you do so, again, you're going to find that your momentum is going to continue to build each and every day. Thank you so much for being on with me this morning. This is Stephen Michael Miller, and I hope you have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.